Alright, hi, kia ora everybody. I realize this might be the first time you're hearing my voice in this sort of lift tour commentary style, but I'll try and make it stick. So let's just do this. Today I'll be taking you around Queensgate Shopping Centre in Lower Hutt, the largest shopping centre in the Wellington region. Many elevator enthusiasts have already done a lift tour of this place, and now it's finally my turn to do it. This lift tour was filmed alongside fellow Australian enthusiast, the Dragonfire123, so go subscribe over there because I'm sure his elevator challenge of this place will be just as epic. So Queensgate Shopping Centre opened in 1986 and it wasn't the flash fanciest. It got bought over by Westfield in 1999, though they did then sell it in August 2016. In terms of development, I think the first major one was done in 2004, and then the mall reopened in 2006 with the layout that you see today. Unfortunately, in November of 2016, a large earthquake struck the South Island suburb of Kaikoura, but the effects made their way up to Wellington, where there were a lot of repercussions, and one of them being extensive damage to the event cinemas and the surrounding area of the car park. Sadly, there was no turning back. The cinema and that end of the car park did have to be demolished, and the mall was closed for several months before fully reopening in April 2017. During that time, the mall also underwent a few layout changes, with the first ever H&M store in the Wellington region being opened there. More on that later. Our work to rebuild the cinema and car park began in 2019 and then was finally fully completed and reopened in December of 2022. Now, most filmers, when they visit the shopping centre, especially nowadays, they tend to start at the food court end and make their way eastward. However, I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to start at the opposite end and go the other way for my lift tour. The reason being, I have a few surprises down at the food court end, which you can probably see from the map what they are. So I will be starting up, well, funnily enough, I'll be starting off with a service elevator. This one's interesting. I'm not sure if it's a 5500 or a 2600, but I'm leaning towards the latter. This lift is sadly call button locked, but I assume it goes up to like the projector rooms for the cinema or something.
I don't too. Interesting.
I wonder how often it gets used. Right, now to our first proper rideable elevator here. This is the Schindler 5500 MRL that serves this end of the mall as well as event cinemas. Now, before the earthquake wrecked everything, there used to be two Otis Gen 2s here, one for public use and one for staff-only use. They weren't too special, they had Everbright inside, but they were adequate enough for their use. Now, following the restoration of the cinema, we do get this nice Schindler 5500 instead, this time with native linear 300 fixtures.
Before we get into Queensgate's famous hydraulics, let's get sort of this slightly newer model instead.
Earthquake destroyed the Gen 2 that used to be here.
And now we've got this instead. 1,450 kilograms centimeters, and that's quite small.
You'll notice later on that the floor numbering isn't all that consistent.
Yes, notice how we're on ground when we entered.
Oh, sorry, lift numbering I meant. No chime. This one's just got a lower beep.
DDA panel. That's unique.
No call cancel.
Okay.
Love the foliage. Up on level 2 inside event cinemas, you can see there's actually a separate elevator to take you up to the actual cinema screens on level 3. Now the Gen 2s used to just serve ground to 3 all the way, but they probably figured it was impractical to go straight from the mall to the screens without a ticket. So they now have 2 separate lifts for the cinema. This one is another Schindler 5500 MRL, although I think this one is much newer than the other one. On this lift, the power saving mode only takes about 5 seconds to activate, which is, well, odd to say the least. going back into the actual shopping center and to the next lift, which is the big Otis hydraulic right in the middle. This is the one I was talking about layout changes. So this lift used to have two sets of doors, with the rear doors being used for the ground floor and the front doors being used for levels 1 and 2. But following the earthquake and following some layout changes while the mall was closed from earthquake damage, the ground floor now just uses the front set and opens up in a completely different lift lobby to before. Despite this, they've clearly reused and just moved the existing fixtures over to the other side. This lift did not need a modernization, except for a new wall covering up where the rear doors used to be. Sadly, being a hydraulic lift from 2004 under such heavy use every day, it's inevitably shown signs of age, and it's not really a lift you want to ride so often, especially considering I managed to get stuck in it for a while in 2019.
Yeah. This used to be rear door opening up that way, but then I pulled it over. Actually, I don't know. Maybe this might have been even. Yeah, 3,040 kilograms, 43 persons. Also, the indicator's been replaced quite a few times. Yeah, it has been. It was always LCD though. So.
I don't know. This doesn't sound like a hydraulic startup, so.
It is. Almost certainly.
And that's my take, so. Dewhurst outside. Now we head into the H&M store, and this was indeed what I was alluding to. The first H&M store in the Wellington region, opening in 2017. The lift here is a Schindler 5500 MRL, but sadly it does use Dewhurst fixtures as opposed to native linear fixtures. The most interesting part about this elevator, of course, is the fact that 1 and U1 are literally 30 centimeters or 1 foot apart from each other.
That's been broken for ages. Also, the doors were a lot noisier than this, but they seem to have been quieted down. Actually, if you want to have a look at how short the distance between U1 and 1 is, have a look. Then you have time to start thinking, yeah. Lift 1. Yeah, that's because H&M's on certain system, I presume. 1600 kilograms, 21 persons. Alright. I don't think there's much interesting.
And yeah, that's all I need.
You want to go up to 1?
Later, maybe.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Alright, the next lift to look at is the one in Farmers. Now Farmers has 2 elevators, but we're gonna look at the public one first. This is an Otis hydraulic, again from 2004, and again sporting Everbright fixtures. This elevator's also been through quite a lot. It used to have the lift stopping voice, but that's since been removed. Please don't tell me I'm gonna get done for copyright.
Dewhurst.
right on.
This lift took forever.
Now, Farmers also has a service elevator, and this one is actually original from 1986 when the shopping center first opened. I'm not sure who made this lift as it is unbranded and uses black Dewhurst US 81 buttons. Unfortunately, we aren't actually able to ride this elevator as it has been deemed staff only, and while it's not locked off at all, it is a little bit too open on both floors. It's very easy to get caught even if you are careful. Something tells me though that this would have been a public lift before the current one got put in. Alright, we go now to the elevator that serves the food court as well as Bed Bath & Beyond. This is actually another Otis Gen 2 with Everbright fixtures, the one that survived after the one serving the cinema got gutted. And speaking of gutted, I may have accidentally spoiled the ideal take that my companion was going for. Alright, yeah, despite the fixtures, this is actually a Gen 2.
People got own like newer revision Gen 2 doors. Not necessarily automatic, but you get the idea.
2004, so...
And lift 7. 1,000 kilograms, 13 persons, yeah, I can hear that. Of course, the cinema used to have something similar to this, but it doesn't.
If you get out on this floor, you can't actually go back down.
Oh, yeah, I see. I guess this is actually a Bed Bath & Beyond.
There actually used to be no working indicator for ages.
Because of course, we hate actually be able to see where we're going.
Alright, back to 1.
Right. Not gonna let me get a silent, right? Oh. No, it's too late now. To do a silent right, you have to do a full way of no interruptions.
Sorry, mate. So that's all of the public elevators in the shopping center. However, you can see 2 elevators marked in blue on the map that look a little bit out of place. These are, of course, the service elevators, and I normally wouldn't risk them, but I know the Dragonfire would, so I just could not pass up the opportunity to record these exclusive lifts. Quick disclaimer though, I would not normally ride service lifts and I don't recommend that you do either. I only rode and filmed these because I was with someone that does. If you wanna ride service lifts or staff only lifts or whatever, it is completely at your own risk. Please know what you're getting yourself into. Anyway, the first service lift to look at is actually located by the men's toilet, and it's perhaps quite well known already within the Wellington lift filmers, purely because you can see it through the window in the door leading to the service corridor. This lift was originally another 80s generic from 1986, most likely hydraulic and most likely sporting black Dewhurst US 81 like the Farmers service lift. However, sometime in the mid to late 2010s, this lift was completely replaced with a Schindler 3300 MRL. It's interesting too because on the outside there's just a call button with no indicator, so you could suspect it was either a mod or just a call button change, but no, it's a full replacement into a 3300.
Finally, a service lift. It even beeps just like Freddy. And you may know some odd linear call buttons, but no corresponding indicator. Okay, now. Let's have a look. It's been replaced.
Oh! I'm scared for where this leads. Lift 5.
Yeah, it's been replaced. 3400 is woefully inadequate for service lifts. Wait, that's weird. AP design but 0 floor numbering. Curious.
I imagine this would have been an 80s elevator originally.
Let's hope the other service lifts on the end is disappointing. That's a mistake, yeah.
Just gotta be quick on the door close.
It's curious because there's no corresponding indicator at all. Like, yeah, I thought I could see it MO. Yeah. Then I didn't realize it was going to be so.
The second service elevator is actually hidden behind a door that explicitly says no public access, so again, my advice is don't risk it unless you're fully aware of what you're getting yourself into. That said, this elevator is quite epic. It's another Otis Everbright hydraulic, but this is the large freight elevator that opens straight into the loading dock. Huge lift with center open 3-speed doors, we love that. And I think it's safe to say this is an undiscovered gem in this shopping center.
I think this is the actual loading dock lift. Oh my gosh. Very fast, dude. Looks like we now know what the indicators were originally.
Right, we'll have a look. Does this sound like an Otilek?
Probably is. So this is the loading dock lift. At least.
Lift 8.
3,000 kilograms. No persons.
Lift 8. Oh.
You're supposed to remain silent, okay? That's just getting out here.
One more.
I'm a little bit disappointed, but I was honestly expecting these sort of the Otis ones to have LCD inside, but I wasn't expecting to have this small type. This is probably what all of them had originally.
Oh, scrolls. Alright, now silent for the upright.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be any others down here. We'll have to go elsewhere. Not gonna lie, it is pretty fast.
Not bad for a hydro.
Okay, I thought I should wrap this up with a little bonus. This is supposed to be the end of the lift tour, but then I took the Dragonfire into the adjoining Forsyth Bar Tower and refilmed those lifts myself, so I figured why not. Not really much to say, it's all in the video, but these are some Otis lifts from 1986 that were modernized by Otis in 2004, putting in Everbright fixtures and 3200 LOP indicators.
What did we get? No one that talks, or the one that chimes. $1,125, 16 persons, lift 2.
Lift stopping basement.
Yeah, we got a talking one.
You'll notice the 45-degree panel. I think this would actually have had genuine either series 1 or 3.
Lift stopping 6th floor.
Sorry, wrong floor. Really?
Lift stopping 4th floor.
Going down?
Yeah.
Which one? Ground?
Grand. Thanks.
Lift stopping ground floor.
Looks like door closed.
You'll notice though that 2 button looks slightly different.
Yeah, I see.
Cabs were redone.
Yeah.
I think we can change lifts here.
Lift stopping basement.
Alright, we'll wait for it to go.
We can't go up to 6 again.
Yeah. V key, but I think these would have been Elavonics.
Not so bad.
I think the 45-degree panel kinda.
Yeah, that's not something like somebody did. At least not in New Zealand.
I don't know what they're doing there, they have to put up caution tape. Hope it's not asbestos. Okay, this is the one with the Series 1 chimes.
And it's been padded up. And it looks the door closed and it's actually lighting up.
I'll focus. There we go.
Going up? Which one?
3.
Wrong way protection. Curious. It's not something Otis really does.
Alright, we're fine.
Yep, 1,125 kilograms, 16 persons. Curious how the outside case caused this that basement and
I think it's because it's only got like I think it's because it's only got the one segment.
digits that they wanted to.
Yeah.